Hello, arrivers. Welcome to another edition of Quick Friday Thoughts. We are still in February, which means that we're still talking about authenticity and branding for travel tech. And this is because we know what travel tech founders love, which is building a great product and scaling. What they often don't like or think that they don't need is brand strategy and marketing. Because here's the thing, if people don't understand your brand, they're not going to trust it. And if they don't trust your brand, especially over the long term, it's going to be really difficult to convince them that they need to keep buying it. So first up is we have to think about what makes your company unique. What is your unique selling proposition? And here it can't just be something like, oh, we make travel booking easier, because everybody says that. That's not really that different. You have to be able to set your company apart in just one sentence. The second point is that people really aren't going to read 1,000 words anymore, so you have to save the tech specs for later. This means crisp videos, sharp design, really strong visuals, a bold logo. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about grabbing attention. And the secret is that if your brand looks amateurish, people are going to think that your product is also, and that's definitely not the message you want to be sending. The third point is setting the stage for brand investment. I get it. You're saying that we don't have budget for branding. Early stage startups, especially if they're bootstrapping. But investors notice this. So if you have a really strong brand, it signals long-term stability, and it makes your company easier to pitch, easier to invest in, easier to grow. And this is especially true with your pitch deck, your website, your elevator pitch, and any of the other first line touch points that outsiders will have with your organization. Just a very tiny parenthesis, you don't have to do all of this from scratch. If you already have a pre-existing brand, it's very easy to just do some tweaks on it. This can be along the visuals, the messaging, the narrative to get things in shape. Fourth is that there's been a lot of buzz around user-generated content lately, and I really completely believe in that. And the reason is that that builds authenticity and trust with your client. So if they see other people who are using your product, who are doing the same thing in the same way that they could potentially, it creates that relationship, which is what you're really going for. And then to add to that, it's really important to think about employee generated content. So not just user generated content, but really when you think about it, your employees are your best assets. So if they have photos, if they have success stories, if they've been doing cool things out there in the market, make sure that you show that too, because that's relatable and it'll build that sense of trust, and it'll make people think, okay, these are people that I could work with. They're doing cool stuff and I can identify with them as people. Something else that we think helps a lot is when you're able to work with local partnerships. So if it's hotels, guides, etc., that people can identify with in that place, it makes it seem much more authentic and they can build that sense of trust. Key here too to remember is that your audience is not just going to be on Instagram. There is a really, really big community on LinkedIn, and we've also seen a lot of people moving towards TikTok, not just for B2C, but also to B2B. And especially with destinations, people are doing much of their research now on TikTok. So you really have to be present on those platforms too. And finally, invest in some analytics. So you really need to track what works, right? So clicks, your website, whatever metrics you're using, make sure that you're following, tweaking, adjusting, and that you're getting feedback. So the key takeaway, branding and marketing for travel tech is what makes people trust you and buy from you as a person and not just as a company. And here's an important pause. What's the cost of my staying invisible, or worse, looking messy? Let me know what you think in the comments.